Are you struggling to get 10DLC A to P registered on GoHighLevel? Hi, my name is Will Craig. I am a co-founder of a company called Signal House. We specialize in connectivity for CRM systems, but we can power any platform that sends a message from an application to a person, or in reverse, from a person to an application. And the reason I want to dig into this is because our company is currently in the process of building a GoHighLevel application that mirrors our HubSpot application that we've gotten a lot of incredible reviews from. But I want to make sure that you are able to send out messages on GoHighLevel even before we have our application finalized there. So in this video, I'm going to be going over the best tips and tricks that you can use to make sure that your GoHighLevel submission gets approved really, really quickly so that you're able to send out messages using the native LeadConnector platform. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So the first thing that we need to dive into is dissecting who actually powers LeadConnector. LeadConnector is essentially a white label of Twilio. So Twilio is the backend of LeadConnector. So understanding that, we can talk a little bit about the nuances that you need to know to get fully approved on Twilio very quickly. When it comes to the 10DLC A to P process, let's just do a super high level overview to make sure we're all on the same page and understand what that review actually entails. It's a two-step process. The first step is the brand registration. You can think of a brand as verifying your business information. So it's essentially just the carriers and the direct connect aggregators, or DCAs. These are the middleman companies that exist between your messaging provider and the carriers. It's a way for them to verify that the company that you're registering for is one that you should be able to register for. So you have their information, you're a part of that organization, and you're cleared to send messages as that company. The information that you're going to be submitting for this, and you're going to be submitting it within the GoHighLevel application, is your legal company name, your legal address, your EIN. And by the way, you can find your EIN if you're a business owner on your W-9 or SS-4. If you are an employee, you can find it on your W-2. You can also call the IRS. They will be able to provide you with that information. But it's on your SS-4 and W-9 as a business owner, W-2 if you are an employee. And then the type of organization you are. So private company, public company, not-for-profit, etc. These are all the items that are within your brand submission. That brand submission is compared to the IRS database. They're looking at the EIN, legal company name, and the type of organization. If that all matches up, you will get a thumbs up in the form of your brand being verified. Now let's talk about the second step, campaign verification. This is where it gets a little bit of nuanced in the approach. So the campaign verification is going to be reviewing the description, your call to action message flow, sample messages, opt-in messages, website, all of those good things. And so we'll dive into the perfect campaign submission at the end of this video so that you'll be able to review that and make sure that your submission is totally approvable by the DCAs and Twilio's internal review. And that's kind of the next thing that I wanted to talk about, is that at Twilio, there really are 3 levels of review. So you have your first level of review specifically at Twilio's internal review vetting process. Once you get through that, you go to the DCA 1, which they're using Cineverse for. It's one of the 4 DCAs in the US, and Cineverse is in turn using Infobip specifically for their T-Mobile traffic. So you are going through 3 levels of review for every single campaign that you're submitting on GoHighLevel. And the important thing to note here is that these campaigns are reviewed by human beings. They're reviewed by individuals, and human beings are fallible. And so these people that are viewing this, they have a very specific set of requirements that they are looking for, and each person is going to be a little bit different. If there are 25 things that you need to review, you might think number 7 is the most important, while your colleague might think that number 24 is the most important. So the key here is that you could have something approved one day by one person that would not be approved by another human being. So it is not a scientific process. Moreover, each organization is going to have items that they are more so concerned about than other organizations. And so to step out 30,000-foot view, what this does is you really have these 3 circles on a Venn diagram that is Twilio's internal, Cineverse, and Infobip. And the center of that Venn diagram of what's actually approvable is very, very small. So it gets smaller and smaller the more sort of hands you have in the pot to actually make sure that what you're submitting is going to be approved. So how do you streamline that approval? So the number one thing that you can do is make sure Twilio knows who you are. Make sure that LeadConnector knows who you are and that your GoHighLevel reps are creating a use case for you and your company with their upstream partners. And so this is something that Signal House is very, very big on, is creating use cases. We believe that people do business with people, and if people understand what your organization and business is, they can help make sure that you are able to send traffic on the networks. Because when it comes down to it, these sort of gatekeepers of the carrier networks, the direct connect aggregators that are actually reviewing your campaign submission, they care about two things. One is traffic. They want to have as much traffic as possible because they get paid for how many messages are sent through. But they can lose their carrier connections, so connections to Verizon, T-Mobile, and AT&T. They can lose those connections if they have scam or spam messages. So they're going to have content filters in place, and they're going to have strict requirements and controls to make sure that they don't approve any campaigns that they really shouldn't approve that are scammers or spammers. So if GoHighLevel is not doing the work to make sure that they're proactive and making sure that the upstream partners know who you are, be proactive yourself. So go to your reps, make sure that they understand who you are, what your industry is, the type of customers you work with, if your customers resell your connectivity, who their customers are, and what that acquisition of consent actually looks like. If you provide all of this additional context around your business, it is so much easier for the DCAs to give a thumbs up because they fully understand who you are. There's not gray. You're replacing the gray with fully black and white. And so that's really important to note. What's also important to note is that Twilio is going to be a little bit stricter than other providers right now because they're in the process of acquiring their third carrier connection, which would give them connections to all three carriers. When an organization that is a CPaaS or a communication platform as a service, a messaging provider, when a messaging provider is going through that vetting process, it is the most strict compliance environment and the most conservative approach that they will have at their company. Because one false step, and I don't know if anyone saw that Telenex issue with the FCC a couple weeks ago, one false step can totally torpedo them acquiring that carrier connection. And they understandably have to do everything in their power to make sure that they do not mess up that process. So they're going to be more strict today than they ever will be. And it's the same on content filtering. And I know this isn't specifically about that, but it's also the same on content filtering. You could have the exact same messages go out on Twilio today and have lower deliverability than another carrier because their content filtering is stronger. So they are determining that messages are scam or spam at a much higher rate than another provider would be because they just cannot afford that high of a risk profile. They have a really big target on their back. That being said, you've created a use case. You fully understand the different processes, procedures, and players that are in play here within sort of this ecosystem. Now, what do? Well, let's talk about a perfect submission. So if you were to submit the perfect brand and the perfect campaign, what would that actually look like? I am here in the Signal House platform and I am going to submit a new brand. When I submit a brand, these are the key items that I'm going to need to put. So the legal company name. This is going to be the legal company name of your organization. If you have a parent company, so if you are a DBA of another company, you will want to put the company that is the parent company in this location. So for us, I'm going to put Signal House LLC. Now this is going to autofill this DBA section. You can leave this as it is, or you can leave it blank if there is no DBA. The key here, the important thing to know with your brand submission is that there is a DBA. Like let's say the DBA is company one. The EIN that you put in will be the EIN that's associated with company one, not with the legal company name. So if there's a DBA, the EIN is going to be the EIN associated with this company one. It's important to note. So for us, there is no DBA. Our company is a private profit company. The country of origin is the United States. We would put in our EIN here, but we'll just put a test EIN. Just numbers here for that. Go ahead and put our legal business address, our website, the vertical that we are in, the opt-in link. So this is where someone would actually opt in to receive messaging from us and a link to our privacy policy. We would then come down here, put our support email address. So I'm just going to put support@signalhouse.io and our company mobile phone. So I'm going to put that in there as well. So when I hit submit, this is going to submit this as an actual brand. We'll get a thumbs up. and we will see that this brand will be verified. All right, so refreshing my screen and I see that it is verified. So the brand verification is done for me. I'm now ready to move on to campaign verification. Okay, so we're here in the Signal House platform. So we're gonna take a quick look at this campaign so that we can describe what the perfect campaign submission is. Coming down here, looking at the first item, which is going to be your campaign description. The key for your campaign description is to make sure that it is short, sweet, and describes the essential elements of your company, what you do, the industry you're in, the type of customers that you work with, and that you're essentially just sending messages about products and services that you directly offer. You want this to be accurate for your company and specific enough to where it accurately describes who you are, but you also want it to be a little bit broad so that you are able to cover a wider swath of the type of messages that you are going to send. Now let's talk about the call to action and message flow. So the biggest thing for this call to action and message flow is that you want to specifically describe how someone would opt into your messaging. And so walk the reviewer through how an individual would actually consent. So there are some keywords here that we want to make sure that we include and some elements that we have to include. But the first thing that we have to do is just walk them through where they would actually obtain consent and how that would be delivered to the end user. So if that's delivered to them in, for example, a link, so you send a link via email, then that's what you would say there. So for this particular one, they can click on the Signal House Get a Demo link at our website, where they'll see a form to fill out information. They can click a specific box for marketing and a specific box for customer care. And that's a really big change for 2025 in general for campaign reviews, is that if you use a mixed use campaign, or if you have different campaigns and you're using one individual landing page to consent for that, if marketing is one of those, it has to be its own separate element. So if you're doing customer care and account notifications, that can be in one CTA on your website. But if you are doing marketing, that has to be its own separate, distinct CTA. And if they don't check that box, then you cannot send marketing information to those individuals. And so let's talk a little bit about the essential elements that you have to have in this message flow. It's the who, the what, the when, the where, the how, and the cost. So the first one is going to be who. Who are you? What is your legal company? You are Signal House, or you are company A. So we have in here, by providing a telephone number, you are consenting to be contacted by Signal House. So that is the who. Now the what is going to be the type of messaging. So we have here account issues and outages, customer care. Now, so we have the who, the what, the when. When am I going to receive messaging? Our messaging frequency may vary. So cost is going to be message and data rates may apply. How is going to be how can I opt out and how can I receive help? So reply stop to unsubscribe from further messaging from the legal company name. So you do need to have the company name in there. So we have to have the who here as well. And then the help information. So respond help to get help. And then the final one is the where can I see your privacy policy? So you need to actually link your privacy policy on the website, but here in the call to action, you just need to show that you can see the privacy policy for more information. I also always add in here the item that you actually need to have in your privacy policy, which is that you will not share or sell data to third parties for marketing and promotional purposes, and that SMS opt-in data in particular is excluded from any data that is shared or sold to third parties. So I'll show you a little bit of what this should look like on the website here in a moment. We're specifically just talking about the submission here. So here, sample messages. Your sample messages, you just need to have one sample message per use case. So if you are doing customer care, then one sample message for customer care is an example customer care message. If you have customer care, marketing, and account notifications, then you would want at least 3 sample messages, one for each of those use cases. So finally, let's talk a little bit about your opt-in, opt-out, what number pooling means, and these type of things. So for subscriber opt-in, you generally want to go with start and subscribe. For the opt-in message, you just need to have the who, so your company name, the when, message frequency may vary, and the cost. as well as the how, stop to opt out, help for support. So you need to have those elements in your opt-in message as well. Your opt-out message just needs to say that you've successfully opted out and you'll receive no further messages from your company name. Again, stop or unsubscribe as those keywords. For help, the key here is that you do need to have a means for them to get further assistance. So for me, I have our support phone number and our support email in here. You also do need to provide the how can I opt out. So that information is going to be in here as well. So start getting message from Signal House again. If you opt out, stop to opt out, etc. So let's talk a little bit about number pooling. Number pooling, for most people, this is going to be a no. What this means is that generally you can only have up to 49 numbers on one individual campaign. We on this campaign currently have 3 numbers that are actively provisioned. And so you can only have at most 49 on an individual campaign unless you do number pooling. So this number pooling process is an individual review that allows you to increase the number of numbers that you have on a specific campaign. Again, that's generally going to be no. Embedded link. So if you are embedding links within your messages, so you want to direct them to somewhere to leave a review or something like that, you would want to include that link in this embedded link. Embedded phone number, again, if you just want to add a phone number, hey, you can reach me at this line, then go ahead and hit yes for that. Age gated generally is going to be no, unless it is something like alcohol, tobacco, etc. Generally, it's going to be no. Terms and conditions, obviously, you just want to hit yes for that. And so now let's take a quick look at the Signal House website where we can review the necessary components for your privacy policy and for your CTA. So let's first talk about the CTA. So here for Signal House, that is on this get a demo link. So here I have both of my CTAs, and these also have the who, the what, the when, the where, the how, and the cost. So I'm saying that we are submitting or you're consenting to be contacted by Signal House. So that is our legal company name. We're telling them the type of messaging, the frequency of the messaging, the cost involved, how to unsubscribe, how to receive help, and where our privacy policy can be found. Now, to make this a little bit better, I would like to see the privacy policy linked here. I know this is my own website, so I need to link my privacy policy there, and I would recommend doing that. And so this one's specifically for customer care. This one's specifically for marketing. Those are the 2 CTAs that we would need. Now let's pop into our privacy policy. The key here on your privacy policy, you want to have an SMS disclaimer. This SMS disclaimer should just essentially be the same as the description that you are submitting with your campaign description in GoHighLevel. But the key here is that you want to tell a little bit about the company that you are. Make sure that you add in that the message frequency may vary, who you can reach out to if you have any questions, message data rates apply, stop to opt out. All of those key elements should be in this SMS disclaimer. And then the key that you want here within your privacy policy is a note that you do not share data with third parties for marketing and promotional purposes. Now, if that is a part of your business, if you do sharing and selling of data, that's okay. You can do that. Now, what do you need to do instead? You need to make sure that you have this statement. All of the above categories, so categories of data that are shared, exclude SMS opt-in. So they exclude text messaging, originator, opt-in data, and consent. That information will not be shared with third parties. And then I always just add this as a little bit of an insurance policy on top. So it's very clear text messaging opt-in data is not being shared with third parties. So if you have that in your privacy policy, and you have your CTA with your multiple selections, if marketing is one of them, and they have the who, the what, the when, the where, the how, and the cost, then you will absolutely get approved on the campaign side of things when it comes to LeadConnector. So now I have finalized my submission, and I know that I have the perfect submission. So now all I have to do is wait until I'm fully DCA elected from LeadConnector and GoHighLevel, and then I am ready to send traffic over their network. So I hope that this was super helpful for anyone struggling with GoHighLevel today. Signal House will be on GoHighLevel very soon, and we are so excited to bring our connectivity and our solution to GoHighLevel to help power your businesses and accelerate your outreach. So if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel so that you never miss a video. We are trying to upload 5 times a week to bring all of the latest information in the messaging ecosystem directly to you. And so as always, we will see you in the next one.